Hi guys, welcome back to the Library of Alexandria. And today, guys, I've got for you Boosh. I guess there's nothing in my hand. My February TBR and the books that I am definitely going to read, and then the whole like panoply of options that I will draw from should I finish those. So I did pretty well in January. I guess I read 5 things in January. Shogun took me a little longer than I wanted it to, at least the parts that I was going to read. But whatever. Without wasting any more time,
Let's get down to business.
let's talk about the books that I'm going to read in February. And I'll go ahead and start with the books that I'm definitely going to read. The first of which is Boosh, Conspirata by Robert Harris, or Lustrum if you're in Europe, because they trust that Europeans will understand that it's a Latin word and don't need something that looks like conspiracy in order to buy it. And this is book 2 of the Cicero trilogy by Robert Harris. The Cicero trilogy, the first book, Imperium, went over surprisingly well for the Cicero read-along. I thought for sure most people were going to be like, meh, or no one was going to read it. But the people that read it really liked it. And that makes me so freaking happy. So, I cannot wait to read this second book. The first one was so good. Like, it was so good. It was exactly what I want out of a Roman historical fiction, like political thriller. It reads like Law and Order Ancient Rome. And Cicero is so mean. He's so good at just... Man, he was such a twerp, but he was an incredible, incredible rap battler. So he's like the current, he was like the ancient Roman equivalent of super hot fire.
2.5 men. I watched that.
So, actually, stay tuned here in the first week in February or whatever. We'll have a live show for that if you just want to come, if you want to read it before then, or if you read it and you want to come watch me and Kyle and whoever else is going to be joining us as we talk about that. And there'll be another live show for the second book. I hope it is just as good. That first book, it covers like his first major case as an attorney, and it goes basically through his election to the consulship. To 63 BC. And if you know anything about Roman history, 63 BC was a huge year, especially for Cicero. So I'm super excited to see Robert Harris's portrayal of those events and, Catiline. So really excited about Conspirata / Lustrum. The other book I will yet again be reading is Boosh, Shogun, once again. And this will be part 3. There's 6 books in Shogun. The first 2 are 440 pages. And then the second book is 350 pages all on its own. And then parts 4, 5, and 6 are another like 400 pages together. So book 3 is the longest, and so it's just going to be what's read this next month. We are having a live show on my channel for books 1 and 2, and I think that's going to be me and Alex from Tall Guy Reads, and Joanna, and Tori, and I think that's it. But I'm really excited to talk to them about it. I love this book, and reading it again makes me understand how much I love it, and like this is the 3rd time reading it, and it's just as good. I did, however, forget there's a bunch of sexy time stuff in it.
Ew.
But when a book is so good that it makes you forget there's all that crap that you don't like in it, like, mwah. So that should be, I think that's going to be this coming Wednesday, so I think 2 days from now, at 6:30, somewhere around then. Just look for the thing. It'll be on my channel. It'll be this week, so if you want to stop by and watch us talk about Shogun. And, yeah, man, the just juxtaposition between politeness and utter brutality. So good, so good. Another book that I'll definitely be reading, at least starting, unless I just end up not liking it because it doesn't hold up. Boosh, Dragon Wing. I've been saying for 2 years I'm going to start this series, but Andrew is starting it this month, with or without me, so I'm going to read it as well. Haplo, I remember being one of my favorite fantasy characters for a long time, so I'm really hoping that this book holds up. It takes place in the realm of air, even though a large portion of it is underground, but there are airships, and it's an assassin is hired to do a bunch of stuff, and it doesn't go the way it's supposed to go. And Haplo just gets kind of like embroiled in these world events, even though he is there. Ostensibly, his mission is to shake things up politically and cause dissension so that his master can come in and, restore order and be the big cheese in charge. So it's not super long, so I will definitely, I'm definitely going to be reading that, and I might have my wife record, like, what I remembered when I picked this up and flipped to the back. All of these books these Deathgate Cycle books have like music written in the back of them, like from the book. And so, I could never play piano, but my wife plays piano. So I'm gonna have her play all of them. And if they sound good, I'm gonna record them and put them in like the review or something. That was my phone. If you heard it go bung, because I always forget to actually, silence it during this. And that one got me in the middle of a sentence where usually they get me in between. And I forgot what I said before it. So you're just gonna have to hear the bang, stupid notification sound. And the last book that I will definitely be reading in February is Boosh, and this looks like the same book I always hold up. It's actually called The Heretic Kings. It's book 2 of the Monarchies of God quintet, I guess. It's 5 books. I read Hawkwood's Voyage in December, and I really, really enjoyed it. I filmed the review. It is not actually out yet because I haven't had my computer. So if you've been wondering where my videos have been, it's because my hard drive failed, and I lost a bunch of data, but I was able to recover it. So my computer runs the way it's supposed to, and I recovered the videos that I had filmed, because I had like 6 filmed videos that I had not edited, so I'll have those out at some point. But this is there's a lot of nautical stuff in it. There is magic, which is like really cool worked in, but it's basically the Ottoman Turks felling Constantinople, and also the exploration age of discovering the New World and things like that. And the first one was really, really good. Check out my Hawkwood's Voyage review when it comes out. I enjoyed it a lot. It has some weird sexy time stuff.
Ew.
That again, like, the book was good enough for me to ignore it. And I don't love everything about it, but it made my top 10 books of the year last year, because I really, really enjoyed this one. I just love like military fantasy, and I like the part with the army that's trying to, stop the Sultanate, and I like the part of, where the ship is fleeing west toward the undiscovered territory. And what I really like is the conflict between the kings of the 5 monarchies of God versus the church, the church is burning heretics or whatever, and the kings are like, what the crap? Like, we're kings. Like, at what point do we stop being kings if we have to listen to everything, the high pontiff says or whatever? So it's very short. It's like 315 pages is the sequel. So I don't want to do what I always do, which is read book 1 of something and then never continue. So instead, I'm going to read this one before I forget everything that happened in the first one. So I'm definitely going to read that in February for sure. Now, on the long, long list of other things that I will be reading, I am currently reading on audio Ashes of the Sun by Django Wexler, which astute viewers will notice I had already read before, but I'm rereading it because Bookborn is reading Wexler also. But I don't actually like this book, and I like it less this second time listening to it, so I may end up not reading it, in which case I will go back to listening to The Blade itself. So I'm still in the process of The Blade itself, so don't worry, that's still going. At some point, my wife will reach a threshold in Way of Kings. She's on like page 300 or so, and she'll reach like a stopping point, and then I will stop what I'm doing, and I will pick up my paperback of Way of Kings, and I will read to where she is, and then she'll keep going, because we're kind of reading it together, and we'll do like a joint review, which will be really, really cool. So that's at some point. I also have 2 arcs that I need to read. I have Heroes of Chaos by Baptiste Pensant Wu, which is book 2 in the Chronicles of the Three Kingdoms, or the Three Kingdom Chronicles. The first book was Yellow Sky Revolt, and it was so good. And I'm so excited to read the second book, where we get even more Cao Cao, and also among men, Lu Bu, among horses, red hair. So I'm really excited to read that. I also have an arc of The Judas Blossom by Stephen Arion, which is the first in his new trilogy, and it's about the Persians versus the Mongols, and I'm super excited to read that as well. In addition, I am hoping to get my hands on an arc of Dr. Philip Chase's book, The Way of Idan, and I am so excited to 1-star that. Like, I just can't wait till it's in my hands so I can fight back against his 20K sub oppression. So all of those are up in the air. If anything else takes my fancy, I also wish to start Curse of the Mistwraith by Janie Wirtz, and also The Scarab Path by Adrian Tchaikovsky, which is book 5 of The Shadow of the Apt. I think I have discovered the secret of reading these long books, and that is reading part of them every month, because that's the only way I'm able to break up Shogun or Way of Kings, so I may end up doing that as well. So I have a lot of choice. I'm spoiled for choice, whatever I feel like reading in between those other 4 books that I mentioned. Because I've got 2 historical fiction and, well, really kind of 3 historical fiction. 2 historical fiction, 1 historical fantasy, and then an epic fantasy book. So I will need something else, I'm sure, in there. I'll also probably read Crowfall just to finish off the Raven's Mark trilogy. I almost did that instead of what I'm currently reading, which was just an impulse read. So I definitely need to finish that. I've also got The Spider that I need to read as well. So it'll just whatever the mood strikes me with. So we shall see. So what about you guys? What are you most excited to pick up in the month of February? I always have to remember, and it fills me with great sadness when I do remember, that February is only 28 days, not 29, not 31. I must needs realize that I lose 4 days or 3 days. 28th counts. So 29, 30, 31. Yeah, I lose 3 days. So I lose 3 days of reading, which, sucks. For me is like, 45 pages. So I just need to bust that out. I did okay in January. Not as well as I wanted to, but better than I thought I was going to do. So let me know down in the comments what you are most excited about reading. Guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, information about my Patreon and Discord is down in the description, and I'll see you next time, guys.